Thanks for downloading a 3CR podcast. 3CR is an independent community radio station based in Melbourne, Australia. We need your financial support to keep going. Go to www.3cr.org.au for more information and to donate online. Now stay tuned for your 3CR podcast.
Good morning, dear listeners. You're listening to Radio 3CR on 855 AM and Palestine Remembered with Robert Martin, Nasser Mashni and Yusuf Ahmed Al-Rimawi. Welcome to another edition of Australia's only radio program that is totally dedicated to the Palestinian cause in English. In today's episode, we will be talking to Dr. Mail Alkaila, the Palestinian ambassador to Italy. For this and more, stay with us and enjoy the episode. Good morning, Robert.
Good morning, Yusuf. Good morning, listeners. Good morning, Nasser, wherever
Nasser.
you are today.
Nasser, yeah. Should we just take 3 days off his salary?
Absolutely. I mean, do we know where he is?
Yeah, we'll think
With
about
the kids
that.
of today, Yusuf, they just don't have any work ethic at all.
No, I know.
So good morning, Nasser, if you're awake yet. Anyway.
Very disappointed, but it's okay. Now, we have a distinguished guest. We are going to speak on Skype today. But before that, I believe you have a couple of items this week in Palestine.
Yes, indeed. I wanted to touch on a few things that you wouldn't have heard in any media outlets. Or
All yours.
So in a week, 7-day period in Palestine, I'm going to read just a few things that have happened over the week. On the 28th of June, Israeli forces killed one boy from Hebron. He was shot in the chest. Did you hear about that anywhere?
Not anywhere. No, not in Australia.
On the 28th of June, a 15-year-old male sustained bullet wounds to the hand during Israeli incursion into a village north of Hebron. And I think people need to know also, these incursions are when the army come through for no apparent reason. They kidnap kids, they wake people up from the dead of night.
They plan their raids after midnight.
After 3, normally about between 2 and 3.
Yeah.
And they'll go into the house and they'll force the kids out
Freak everybody
outside in the dark. They will do it during the day as well, but it's part of, I suppose, punishment on everybody. So, look, there's a few other things that I want to read here. 6 Palestinians were wounded. This is on the one day, the 2nd of July. 3 of them sustained metal bullet wounds, and 3 others sustained gas canister shrapnel wounds. Now, this is something you just don't hear of anywhere else. It's part of the collective punishments. Dozens of temporary checkpoints were established in the West Bank and others re-established to obstruct movement of Palestinian civilians. 15 civilians, including 2 children and a field worker, were abducted at a military checkpoints in the West Bank. Concerning house demolitions, they had forced one particular family to demolish 2 houses themselves, otherwise there would have been a fine of 80,000 shekels. There was another family in Jerusalem, in occupied Jerusalem, a family of Muhammad al-Nassar. He was forced to self-demolish his house. And the reason for these are basically you don't have a permit, but the permits haven't been given.
Can you imagine destroying your house with your own hands?
No.
Having to be forced to do it?
I mean, they have all the bulldozers there just in case you're not going to do it.
And then they'll send you the invoice of about $30,000 or something like that.
And then they wonder why the Palestinians have some issues with the Israeli Defence Force. And so, I mean, that's just touching base on a very, very few things in a week.
Speaking of Jerusalem, I believe you have something about the Jerusalemite teenager, Muhammad Abu Khudair, who was kidnapped 2 years ago by some Jewish settlers and who was burnt alive. I
do, and I think we shouldn't actually assume that people understand what happens in Palestine. Normally, if you're assumed of a crime that's killing someone, your family home and your cousins' homes would be demolished.
If you're a Palestinian.
If you're Palestinian. Well, they've decided that the person that has admitted to this murder, and this is after they beat him, they poured petrol down his throat and set him alight. A few days before this, they tried to abduct a 7-year-old, but he ran away. So what would they have done with that 7-year-old? Probably the same thing. Well, then a week after that, they found his cousin, who was an American who got bashed in the Israeli prisons. Well, they've decided that they will not punish these people the same way they would as Palestinians, because they believe that Israeli Jewish terrorism is different than Palestinian terrorism. And so if that doesn't set off some massive issues or a show of lack of democracy, of equality, nothing ever will, Yusuf. I did want to mention that a toddler was, not a toddler, he's about 4 months old.
An infant.
An infant in his home was tear gassed. He succumbed to his the issues of asphyxiation and has died. And this obviously is somebody that's not out at a protest. Cannot blame anything other than the fact that it was asleep at home. Got rushed to the hospital, never came out.
And the baby's name is Abdulrahman Al-Barghouthi. Also, Aus Salama and Saad Saleh near Jenin. I think you have something.
Just yesterday, they were 20 and 17 years old. One was hit with 2 bullets to the head and left side of the chest and died on the spot. The other was transferred to hospital after being hit in the abdomen and it exited from his chest. Now, this is a common occurrence. And so there's, eyewitnesses have said that they weren't doing anything. They were part of a group.
And none of these crimes have been reported in
there's
our
M16
media.
bullets too. M16.
We will head towards our interview with Dr. Mail Alkaila, the Palestine ambassador to Italy and the member of the Revolutionary Council of Fatah Movement. Stay with us. We are pleased to be joined on Skype from Rome, Italy by Dr. Mail Alkaila, the Palestine ambassador to Italy and member of the Revolutionary Council of Fatah Movement. Thanks, Dr. Mail, for being on Palestine Remembered today.
Thank you for you, and I just want to give all my salute to all Palestinians and all our friends, especially those in the solidarity movement in Australia and all over the world.
Thank you.
So welcome.
Dr. May, I would like to start by the Palestinian long endeavors for statehood. The statehood project started, of course, in the 40s or even before the establishment of Israel on historical Palestine. But let's try to put the listeners or to give them an idea of the recent developments of our endeavors for statehood. Why we want a state as long while we are under occupation?
Actually, the Palestinian people have suffered the occupation since 70 years. And before that, there was also the occupation of the Ottoman Empire. Therefore, we are victims of a very long occupation as Palestinians. And as Palestinians, we are freedom seekers since very long, historically. But as long as the freedom seekers and the independence of the Arab states of the Ottoman Empire have started in 30s and 40s and 50s even, and the independence occurred in many states in the Arab country. Therefore, also us as Palestinians, we start seeking our independence as Palestinians. But unfortunately, by then, for example, Jordan have been under the Britain mandate and they got their independence. Us Palestinians, instead of having our independence as Jordan did in the same time under the same mandate, Palestinians unfortunately have been the target for the Jew immigration from Europe to Palestine. And this occurred exactly after the First World War and the Second World War, but beginning with Balfour Declaration in 1917. He was the Chancellor of Britain, and he have granted the territory of Palestine for as a nation statehood for Jews, giving Palestine, not his land, for the Jews who are coming and immigrating from Britain. Therefore, this was the first mistake that. And we call it moral mistake and political mistake against the Palestinian people by the Chancellor of Minister of Foreign Affairs, of Britain. And the Jews, they took this as a granted, and they start working on this. And also, I'm talking about history, and also the Basel Congress that occurred in 1897, where Herzl have asked for a nationhood for the Jews in Europe because they were suffering discrimination. I'm saying these points because it will clarify why Palestine was targeted by Europe, presented by Balfour, to be as a statehood for the Jews in Europe. However, there was refusal by the Arab country and by the Palestinians, which are the residents, the original residents of Palestine, about this, and they took it to the United Nations, and there they declared and they announced the Resolution 181, which is very famous, in which they stated that Palestine will be divided into two states, the state of Israel and the state of Palestine, the Arab state of Palestine.
Now, the world has seen the state of Israel, but is yet to see the state of Palestine. And we know that it's because of occupation. But the question is, now, I think in future, now, as long as we are under occupation, shouldn't the statehood bid be postponed until we end occupation, or should we start our endeavors before we end occupation? How would you respond to this, Dr. May?
My dear, we are still under occupation, though we have the Palestinian National Authority, which is part of it. Still, we have the occupation in Palestine, in the West Bank and Gaza, which is supposed to be the Palestinian statehood. Still, we are under occupation on the ground, because Israel is still practicing its occupation and its power, using all type of missiles and weapons. I mean, using all types of weapons against Palestinian civilians who are living in West Bank and Gaza. And therefore, we continue to work for the statehood, even if we are under occupation. We are not going to wait until the occupation finalizes. We are asking requesting the international community to let Israel abide with the United Nations resolution. In the last 20 years, there was lots of United Nations resolutions that were issued by the Security Council and by the General Assembly. And in 2012, there was a recognition of the Palestinian state as a member observer in the United Nations by 138 members against 9, in which they recognized the Palestinian state. And our real problem, actually, my dear friend, is that the United Nations is not forcing Israel to implement the United Nations resolutions, which means that the occupation should be retired for 1967 borders, including East Jerusalem, and having this land be liberated for Palestine and for the Palestinians, and on this land, which means 22% of the Palestinian land equals to West Bank and Gaza and East Jerusalem, to be the capital of the state of Palestine for us as Palestinians. Unfortunately, the international community is not giving enough pressure on Israel to abide and respect the international law. And this is the major problem. We are asking now for ending the occupation, so we'll have our state.
Now, one thing, the admission as an observer member gave the Palestinians was the chance to join UN bodies, including the International Court of Justice and other UN body. And we've seen Palestine even was voted as a full member of the UNESCO even before the General Assembly. Yeah, and I want you to comment on the importance of being members of the international UN bodies, especially the UNESCO and International Court of Justice. And if you can also comment on the last victory that the Palestinians made at the UNESCO by recognizing Hebron as a Palestinian heritage.
For us and for each nation, I believe it's very important to join the United Nations institutions, which are a large number of institutions. And as you know, there is the United Nations in New York, which deals with the peace and political issues. Peace, security, and political issues, with its headquarters in the General Assembly in New York. And there are technical institutions, for example, the UNESCO, which deals with education and culture, World Health Organization with health, FAO with agriculture and nutrition, etc. We are very concerned that we will be member of each and every institution in the United Nations. Now, for example, the UNESCO. Let's take the UNESCO. The UNESCO is very, very important for us because we believe that education is very important for us as Palestinians. And as you might know, that the Palestinians have the highest rank of education in the Middle East. The Arab countries, I mean. And women, we are also highly educated in Palestine. And number two, the culture and the heritage. And you know, Palestine is a very rich country in heritage, especially that in Palestine, the three religions, monotheistic religions, were born. And these three religions, they have lots of heritage. The Christian heritage is very, very huge, especially there. Jesus Christ was born in Bethlehem, and by the way, we consider him Palestinian.
He's Palestinian.
And of course, Jesus Christ is Palestinian. He was born in Palestine by a Palestinian woman. And also, he was resuscitated in Jerusalem, in Saint Sepulchre. For this is very important. For the Muslim religion is very, very important, especially that Prophet Muhammad also have resuscitated from the Dome of Rock, the mosque, Aqsa Mosque. Therefore, it's very, very important. And out of this, there is lots of heritage all over Palestine. In this respect, last week, there was a resolution and we have a victory in this, in which they considered Hebron, the city of Hebron, as a human heritage, because as you might know as well, that Abraham tomb and Sarah tomb and Rivka tomb and Hajar tomb, all these they are the prophets and the ancestors of humanity. All of them, their tombs are existing in Hebron, and Hebron city has a very, very large and very long history in humanity. And unfortunately, Israel is treating brutally and very aggressively in Hebron and against all these heritages. So voting UNESCO for maintaining Hebron on the human heritage, it's a very successful and a victory for humanity, not only for Palestinians, but this should be followed up by the international community, in which they should forbid Israel to practice its practices against each and every cultural issue in Palestine, including Hebron. Israel is practicing its brutality against Palestinian human being, against Palestinian stones, against Palestinian olive trees, against Palestinian women, against Palestinian heritage, against Palestinian culture. Even they are taking our food, that the Palestinians well known about our food, which is part of our culture, and they consider it Israeli. So there is a real threat for the Palestinian identity for their culture, which we consider it is very sacred for us, and they are trying to change the Palestinian cities and the Palestinian face of each and every state in Palestine to be like a Jew issue. So this having UNESCO considered and voted for heritage of the city of Hebron, we consider it a great victory for giving the culture priority in our resistance.
I see that
against the occupation, and also to maintain our national identity.
Fantastic. I see that Israel has embraced it, the UNESCO vote, by saying that they're withdrawing $1 million from the UN.
Sorry?
Israel is trying to punish the UN by stopping the financial obligation.
1 million.
Yes, I know. Yeah.
Another way of blackmailing.
And this is the measure, the practice and the measures that usually Israel is using. But I think that a campaign have been started by the Arab country to maintain this quantity of money for UNESCO through the Arab and Islamic countries.
Now, Dr. May, before we leave the statehood, and I'm sure Robert has questions about another topic, I want to ask you, but briefly, maybe in 2 minutes, about, let's say, the endeavors for statehood. Here in Australia, for example, historically Australia has been voting against Palestinians.
Not me.
Not you, your government.
Okay, just saying,
not
me.
you, not Robert. Yeah. The Australian government has been voting against us. There was only a little progress in 2012 when the Labour was in force by abstaining. So the best we got is abstention. But now there is some momentum within Labour Party of Australia to recognise Palestine. Now, how important is this?
Of course, it's very important for us. Number one, Australia is a very important country for Palestine and worldwide. Number two, for us, when Australia recognizes Palestine, we add another country and another important country in the recognition of the state of Palestine. Instead of having 9 against, in 2009 Australia were against the recognition of the state of Palestine. So we will diminish them. We will diminish them into 8, and not only in numbers. I'm saying now about the relations, the bilateral relations that will have Palestine and Australia together, as for example I'm having here between Italy and Palestine. So we'll have a bilateral relations. We will enhance the cooperation between the two states, and politically it's very, very important for us that Australia recognize, because Australia has also another countries that will follow Australia, and we believe that this relation between the two people, Palestinian and Australian people, will be much better enhanced and much better open, and we believe it's one step forward for peace. If Australia believes in peace, they should recognize the state of Palestine, because recognizing the state of Palestine is one step forward for peace and one step forward for having an independent state. And democracy, who believes in democracy, should give the other nations the independence and democracy.
Before the break, Robert was mentioned the point that it's great to see a Palestinian woman representing Palestine in an important country like Italy. So maybe it's a good opportunity, Dr. May, if you allow us to talk about the women, the Palestinian women participation, whether in revolution, diplomacy, society, because we hear a lot that the Palestinian women are oppressed.
I don't hear this.
As in
society, man.
If you remember the forum that we were accused that women in the Palestinian society are oppressed and they don't have venues to participate. So how do you respond to that?
Actually, I'm pleased to say that our leadership since 1965, they were very alert for women issue and for women participation in the revolution. And actually, we as Palestinian women, we have participated side by side with the Palestinian men in the revolution and in working towards a Palestinian statehood and for liberation. Therefore, the Palestinian women have taken its role since the beginning of the contemporary revolution, and it continued to be the same in the statehood, building the institutional statehood, the ministries, and also I want to tell you that us as Palestinian women, we have a very strong movement. We have a very strong movement, and I think it's the strongest women movement who is asking for their human rights, for their women rights in the Arab countries. And I am coming from this movement as a defender for women rights on political level and on social level, and I believe that we are far away in this issue from our neighborhood countries in representing women in the decision making. The
process. Can we talk? Yes. I was going to ask you quickly about Khalida Jarrar, who has just received a 6-month sentence, administrative sentence. It's not her first one. Can you sort of give us an outline about how that's happened and what's going on and whether it's common?
Khalida Jarrar is a Palestinian woman leader. She was elected in her party democratically, and she is in the first circle of her party, and also was elected democratically in the Palestinian Legislative Council. We are very proud of Khalida Jarrar working for and defending the Palestinian rights and also working for women rights. Unfortunately, for her activities and long-term activities and bold activities, she was arrested by Israel for administrative. This is the second time administrative detention, and this is actually the practices of Israel as an occupying power against all activists in the Palestinian territory. And we are looking forward. And today I sent another letter. This is the second letter I'm sending for the parliament, the Italian parliament, regarding Khalida Jarrar and Khatam Saafin, her friend, who were also arrested with her, asking the parliament to defend the immunity that Khalida Jarrar should have as a parliament member, and also to let them discover how Israel is abusing the international law by having a parliament member being arrested, as with other 16 parliament members that they are existing now in the Israeli political prisoners. And
so
also,
democratic,
as you know, we have
so democratic, isn't it?
Marwan Barghouti, he is also a member of the Legislative Council, but also a member and elected member in the Al-Fatah movement as a member of the Central Committee, which is very important for us as Palestine, not only as Al-Fatah movement. And also he's arrested since 14 years. And Ahmed Saadat also is a very important political leader from the Popular Front, also was arrested. So we have another 16 parliament members who were arrested, in addition to our beloved Khalida Jarrar as a woman. Therefore, I think there should be, and we are raising a campaign in Europe for that Israel is not respecting the parliament immunity that is existing worldwide. And I hope that you will do it the same in
you tell us what we can do, and we'll absolutely do whatever we can.
Because actually this is not consistent with democracy and with immunity and respect.
It's the opposite of democracy. Law. The opposite. There's no democracy over there at all unless you're a Jewish person.
And abusing and all what you can say about international law and respecting international law and respecting immunities for elected leaders.
Now, in the last 2 minutes, Dr. May, I would like to ask you about a message you want to give your listeners here in Australia as a Palestinian woman, as a Palestinian diplomat, as a representative of Palestine to an important country like Europe. So the microphone is yours, and you have 2 minutes.
First of all, thank you very much. I'm pleased to meet Australian people through your respectful broadcasting. And I'm saying that we as Palestinian people, we want peace, we want to live in peace, and our hands are open for peace, but to be just peace. And also we are open for democracy, and we are open for that Australia recognize the state of Palestine if really they believe in peace and they want one step for peace forward. We are looking forward to continue our friendship with the Australian people, and I'm inviting Australian people to come and visit Palestine and to look and to see on the ground what's going in the Palestinian people. For much we are talking about what's happening and how much the Palestinian people are suffering. On the ground, it's different than seeing it on the ground. And I want to say that this territory, the Palestinian territory, which is the Holy Land, it should be maintained as a Holy Land. It should be maintained as the place where Jesus Christ was born. And we should continue to struggle for the peace as we, Palestinians, our leadership, and us as Palestinian people are looking forward.
Dr. Mail Alkaila, the Palestine ambassador to Italy and the member of the Revolutionary Council of Fatah movement, thanks very much for being with us on Palestine Remembered.
It's been an honour speaking to you. Thank you.
You've been listening to a 3CR podcast produced in the studios of independent community radio station 3CR in Melbourne, Australia. For more information, go to allthews.3cr.org.au.